And I just want to take this opportunity to thank Gary for jumping into this race. It is important, and I am just extremely pleased to be able to run with him and to support him in his effort and to make him the next supervisor from the Catoctin district.
And I think it bodes very well for Geary Higgins' campaign when on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in April, you've got the beautiful South Restaurant packed with his supporters. So thank you for being here today to support my friend, our friend, and it's certainly a pleasure for me to introduce Geary Higgins, your next Catoctin District Supervisor.
Bravo!
Thank you, Gary, for those kind words, and thank you, Scott, for your kind words and being here today. Gail and I moved here in 1977. We've been here since then, 6 months after we were married. We got involved right away in Loudoun County. One of the first things we did was do most of the legwork behind getting the Bluemont Historic District put together. Myself and a friend, Mark Walston, who's a high school friend, we did the legwork, got David Edwards involved, and we came to Loudoun County. We recognized the beauty of Loudoun, the things that were here that people took for granted. I used to live in Maryland outside of Rockville. Rockville had a beautiful downtown like Leesburg or Warrenton, and they just scraped it off and bulldozed it and put a big modern thing that I don't think's ever made any money in 40 years. And so we wanted to see what's best about Loudoun preserved. And this was all voluntary, but it was a lot of work, and that's where I'm coming from. History and preservation is one of my passions. I know about the school board, the budget. I know how the budget's put together. I know what drives it, and those are things that I think are absent from the Board of Supervisors, and I can bring that and help us to work with the school board to get a better working relationship and hopefully a better budget. As far as taxes, you know, we have the highest taxes in our region, and the only way that we're going to solve that problem is towards building a business tax base, like Scott said. I mean, we've heard it for years about the board is going to do that. We don't want to be a bedroom community. We're going to balance our taxes between the commercial, industrial, and the residential, and it hasn't happened. Right now, our our industrial tax base is about 19%, and actually that's up from 16%, but that's only because residential assessments have crashed. In real numbers, it's continued to go down, and that's not good. I drive the toll road every day to work, and I drive to the Loudoun County line, and it just stops. And you can see the who's who of the marquees of all the companies that didn't come to Loudoun County that are just over the line that you could hit them with a good, well, I couldn't, but somebody who was a good golfer could hit them with a good golf shot. And, you know, that's got to come to an end. We've got to work to be business friendly. I've talked to some people that do business in Loudoun and Fairfax, and they've told me that the problem with Loudoun is that the marker keeps moving. You do what they want you to do, and then it's something else. You got to do something else, and it's never changing. We have to have rules. The rules have to be reasonable, and we have to encourage business. And if we are going to do anything about taxes in this county, it's going to be by building that tax base. I am a pro-business candidate. I don't want to forget about the rural economy. That's very important to Loudoun, particularly the wine industry and some of the historic sites and those kind of things. Those bring people to Loudoun County. Loudoun County's become a destination, a tourist destination, become of that. You read in the paper about Loudoun being the wine country of the East, and that's great. We got to encourage that, and we've got to continue to help that grow. Again, in talking to businessmen that are trying to do business in Western Loudoun, the restrictions on them are way too much. I was talking to a guy that was trying to run a bed and breakfast. He can't get to the number to have his bed and breakfast make enough money that it's a real business. They're okay with hobby farms, I guess, but there's not the right regulations to allow these people to prosper in those businesses. We need to do this. And this Chesapeake Bay Preservation Act, I'm categorically against it. No one's against clean water, but it's really not about clean water. And it's a moving target. It's too expensive, it's too overburdensome, and it's not been proven. And so I can tell you that I will not be supporting that if that gets put into place. I'll do everything I can to get it unput in place. As far as traffic is concerned, I think we have a pretty good master plan for traffic. It probably needs a little work, but it's a strategic plan. There has to be some tactical implications for that plan, some tactical applications for that plan. It's little things. I mean, if you put a right turn lane on Route 9 at 287 so cars going west could go by and cars going north could turn right, you wouldn't have to sit there 15 minutes every time you get to that traffic light. And this isn't going to take a lot of money. We're seeing the state has come up with some money for a third lane coming out of Leesburg on the west side to Clark's Gap. That's another simple solution that will really help get traffic moving again. These are practical things that can and should be done in Western Loudoun to improve the traffic. Coming from the school board, I support good schools at a reasonable price. My problem with the school board and watching it since I've left is that we've gone from about 62% of the county budget to darn near 70% of the county budget. And while our student population has increased by 50%, our budget is doubled. It's 100% what it was just 7 years ago. And those things, have to be brought under control and dealt with. Roger's big concerns is the whole debt issue we're approaching, and it's either this year or next year we're going to go over the 10% limit that we've had in the county. That's not a good thing, because those are entitlements, those are like entitlements, and that money has to be paid. It's like your mortgage. And that continues to crowd out the rest of the budget, so we can't deal with the other things that need to be dealt with. I am not going to consider raising anybody's taxes in this economy we have right now. I have a number of friends and family members very close to me that have been unemployed during this recession, some of them for long periods of time. Gasoline has doubled, fuel oil's doubled, food's going through the roof, and when are we going to get a break? That's the difference between a fiscal conservative and my opponent who claims to be a fiscal conservative. In my view, you look at the money you have and then you build a budget around that money that you have. Where he's coming from is you build your budget with all your pet projects and funding your friends, and then you go get the money to pay for those things. And I'm here to tell you it's not going to be that way if I'm elected. I will not increase regulations on the business community. If anything, we need to look at ratcheting back on those regulations. The CPBO, Chesapeake Bay Act, if it gets passed, I'll vote to take it away. One thing I can tell you, and I work with employers every day, if you give them the tools, they will make their businesses grow, but you can't tie them down. So we've got to give the business community the tools to make their business grow, to bring those businesses to Loudoun and to make them successful, and that's how our tax base is going to get balanced. My door will always be open to any of the constituents or anybody that wants to talk to me. I can guarantee you that. And I want to thank you all again for being here. I want to thank Scott for being here, and I appreciate the fact that Scott is here and his endorsement of me, and I look forward to working closely with Scott. And one of the things that has been a problem with our party over the past few elections has been this appearance that our party is fractured. And by Scott coming back into the party and running as a Republican, that puts Humpty Dumpty back together again. And I think that I think that's a very good thing, and I think it's good for the party, and I think it's good for every candidate in this room. And I think Scott's the man to be our chairman this year, this time, and forward. So, Scott, thank you very much for being here. And as Scott said, I need your help going forward. We're going to win this thing, and I want to thank you all for being here.
Go Geary!